If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. Please forgive the wind noise. I will do the best I can and talk very loudly, but you know, it's just so nice. I want to come outside, but the wind is just, well, it's rough. So anyway, I've been asked a lot about the government shutdown and how it affects the RV lifestyle, especially for those who stay in public lands, obviously. Van dwellers that go out to the BLMs and the national forest and national parks. The key is that you have an understanding of the different scenarios on how this is going to affect your type of lifestyle. Everybody's got a different type of lifestyle when they come out here, and it's going to affect some more than others. But first I got to explain how these agencies are ran, who runs them, that kind of thing. What you have is national parks and BLMs, Bureau of Land Management, that is ran by the Department of Interior. Then you have the National Forest, which is ran by the Department of Agriculture. So two different departments run three different services. When I say what a Bureau of Land Management is, typically what we're thinking of is those folks that go out to the desert in Arizona every winter. They go out near Quartzsite and Ehrenberg. That is the Bureau of Land Management. I mean, there's too many for me to list in a 7-minute video, so you just have to have an idea of what I'm talking about. Now, these are free lands. You can park on them. Usually have a 2-week stay limit. Then there are some paid sites also. Then you have national parks. Now, national parks are very interesting. They usually require payment of some sort for you to enjoy those services. So a national park would be, some big ones would be the Statue of Liberty, the St. Louis Arch. Now they have some land also that you can stay on. Now this land usually is paid campsites. Not always, but mostly paid campsites. So a lot of folks who want hookups go to national parks. A lot of folks who are wanting to stay out west go to Bureau of Land Management. And then you have the third, National Forest, which again is ran by the Department of Agriculture. Has three types of camping. It has primitive camping in campgrounds. It has paid camping in campgrounds. And then you can just stay out in the forest itself. Now, what happens in the National Forest campground, the free ones, typically they don't shut them down. They have like a privy that they can use. They can have running drinking water, but it's not, you know, anything you can hook up to. Sometimes, other times they don't. What happens is the ranger's office shuts down at a National Forest campground. They don't clean the bathrooms. That means also, and I've said this a lot, that you don't have any protection from rangers. A lot of people seem to think rangers are always on the job. Well, actually, they're rarely out. You hardly ever see them unless there's a problem. That's when they come out. Well, if there's a problem now, they're not coming out. Now, you can go out into the National Forest, like I said, and stay there, and you're not going to be affected by this at all. If you go to paid campgrounds in the National Forest, there won't be any services. The gates would be closed. Then you have national parks. National parks, I talked about, is usually paid service. Here's the only thing I really know about that is back in January 2018, I met someone, who's actually a subscriber, who was down in the Florida Keys National Park. And they shut it down. They closed the gate. You couldn't get in. Well, if you have that kind of lifestyle, that was pretty tough on those folks. Now, BLMs. BLMs are massive. And it's going to be the same thing as the problems that we run into in the National Forest. There's just not going to be a lot of services. Rangers probably aren't going to come out as much. There's just not going to be anybody to control the atmosphere. Well, here's the real trouble with this. Is there's big events getting ready to happen in the BLMs themselves. Then that could be a real trouble for the event. Trying to control, you know, the folks who are rowdy, because there won't be any rangers to help. All this is even complicated more so by the fact that you can't find any information on it. I went to all three websites, National Forest, BLM, and National Parks. And right there at the header, it says, not updating websites right now until the government closure is finished. The National Forest still has all its information on it. You can see, you know, everything they've already put on it is still there. The BLM webpage has nothing other than we're not updating until the government shut down. So you can't even look to see maps or anything. The National Parks is different though. National Parks are pretty important to state revenue. Imagine, for example, the Statue of Liberty shutting down or the Arch shutting down. So what states are doing is they're funding those departments to keep certain things open, like the Arch, like the Statue of Liberty. The problem is there's no way to find out what's open or not. You literally have to go and figure it out. My guess is the best way to do it is if you can't find any information, it's closed. But if you go in there and you type in St. Louis Arch and it comes up, then it's open. That's the only advice I can give you on national parks. Now, firefighting activities is a problem during this time. Last year, when we had the government shutdown, rangers did not monitor controlled burns during the shutdown. Fortunately, it was only a couple days shutdown, so it wasn't a big deal. So what they did was they started all these controlled burns, and then they smolder for several weeks after the burn. Well, what happens is the National Forest comes out with helicopters and they drive by just to make sure nothing's spreading around. Well, during the closure, there was none of that monitoring. Nobody was monitoring any of these burns. So what ends up happening is a lot of this, I guess, goes, and this is just an assumption, a lot of this goes to the state to help out in the counties and the cities. But there is no easy answer. Government shutdowns can affect you pretty seriously if you're a full-time RVer living in public lands. Thanks for watching. Click like if you like the video, and happy travels.